at this point, so right now, Ron is calm on the table. His therapist told him when something happens like that during the game, go somewhere, lay down, or, just try to put some headphones on the block out. He did exactly what they told him to do. But at this time, Ben is walking off, Ron is laying down, but it's the players on the other team that's still talking and still pushing and stuff. So during that time, I walk around, y'all a little bit ahead, but I walk around and I pull out my jersey and square up with Rip Hamilton and Leslie Hunter. Rip Hamilton is a friend of mine. This is a good friend of mine. I just told we was in a McDonald's game together. So, but it's just a rivalry at the time, so we willing to go at each other.
You did pull out the shirt. I don't know if some of you remember, or some of you wasn't born yet or was too young, or those of you like me who was watching the game the night the Detroit Pistons played the Indiana Pacers in Detroit. The Malice in the Palace is what they called it. And did you know this was 20 years ago since that infamous night? It was one of the worst brawls, I think, in U.S. sports history that I can remember. The incident, it was November 19th of 2004. It was early in the season, kind of. And it was at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Detroit. And what happened was, it was a very physical game because, the Pistons at the time under Larry Brown, they was very defensive minded. They was very physical. With Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton and them boys, they was some beasts on defense, and they was very physical. So a lot of times, it might be a physical game, and it might be a fight here and there. But on this night, Ben Wallace and Ron Artest got into it. Ben Wallace was going to the hole, finna do a layup or a dunk. And Ron Artest, he did a hard foul from behind. It was kind of unnecessary, but I understand they was fouling hard back then, especially them type of matchup games where both of the best teams in the conference playing each other, and it's like a preview of what's to come for the playoff. And the Pacers was dominating the Pistons at this point in the game. And Ron Artest to make that type of foul, it was uncalled for. But Ben Wallace did lose his cool. He didn't have to go and attack Ron Artest like he did, because Artest did foul and follow through, but he just stopped after the whistle was blown, because Ben Wallace did get the foul called for him. And what began as a disagreement between, both of the conference rivals, it just quickly spilled into the stands, and a lot of violence occurred. A lot of innocent people in the audience was getting trampled over. Ron Artest, he was trying to cool off after Ben Wallace shoved him after the foul. He went, because what they didn't tell you is the Indiana Pacers, they knew Ron Artest was a hothead, and, he had some mental health issues, Ron Artest. And they used to always tell him, instead of getting upset when you feel like you're getting triggered, for your coping skills, what we want you to do is just go somewhere and lay down, like on a bench or on a table, and, just lay down and calm yourself down. And that's what he did. Ron Artest, after he got shoved by Ben Wallace, he went and laid on the table, on the scoring table, and he was just laying down while both teams was arguing. He just laying there, and a fan threw a beer at him, and it hit him on the chest while he's laying on the table trying to. And just imagine that. You already have mental health issues, anger issues, and you triggered right now. You using the coping skills that, everybody tell you to use, the coaches, the staff, teammates, and then all of a sudden a fan throw a beer at you, hit you in the face and chest. And so Ron Artest, he got upset. He jumped off the scoring table, ran into the audience, and choke slammed one of the fans that he thought threw the glass of beer, but actually it was a different guy that end up later on that came out that threw the beer. So Ron Artest attacked the wrong person, and once he attacked the fan, a lot of the fans all got together and got to pulling him off, and they got to, you know, fight jumping Artest. And so teammates of Ron Artest, Steven Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, they all ran into the into the audience and got to helping Ron Artest get the fans off of him. So it became fans against the players. And the fans, they throwing bottles and popcorn and splashing beer all in their face, throwing chairs. They getting Ron Artest back into the locker room, getting him out of the way, getting him to the back. They called a big police presence. Police was everywhere trying to break up the melee. Jermaine O'Neal and Steven Jackson, they still getting into it with the fans while, everything trying to get separated. And once article of clothing got through in Jermaine O'Neal way, he ran and he punched one of the fans dead in the face. The fan fell to the ground. Steven Jackson was help hitting fans also. And so after they finally broke everything up, got everybody to the back, thank God it wasn't any life-threatening injuries, but a couple people was injured after the melee. The guy that got hit by Jermaine O'Neal, an older guy was laying on the ground bleeding. A lot of kids was traumatized. They was left there crying with their parents trying to shield them still so, they don't get hurt. And it was just a lot going on. So after that, a lot of the players got fined for the rest of that season. And it was towards the beginning of that year. And so that kind of put a asterisk towards the NBA season that year. It was kind of a black mark for the league. And they had to come together and make a lot of more rules regarding what fans can and cannot do. A lot of fans did get charged also, players and fans. Fans got lifetime bans, and the players was getting one year probation with community service. And I think the fans also got the same and a lifetime ban from the stadium. But I remember watching the game in the fourth quarter, you just on TV from my perspective of it, watching it from my house in the living room, you just saw a lot of fans, the players running into the stands and all the stands just swarming towards the player, and the broadcasters not knowing what to do. They just yelling all over the place, and this is ridiculous. This is somebody, hopefully they don't get hurt. And it took a while. They didn't even black out the channel. It took a while for them to break up the fight. But it definitely got a lot of ratings that night. It definitely did. But ever since then, the league been getting very, very soft. You blow on somebody nowadays on accident while you're trying to hold defense, and they might call a foul on you. So, and now the viewership is tanking. So, you got to find that happy medium of physicality and not being able to touch them at all. But let me know in the comment section if you was around and you was watching that game, what you was doing and what you remember. And if you wasn't, let me know what you think about when you went back and researched the Pistons and Pacers brawl, the Malice and the Palace. But as always, I'm out. Your boy P Dizzle. I holla. Peace.